Well, we have nearly 60 people here, so we're going to start. I want you to know that this is being recorded so our students can share with other family and friends. So please note that. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Elaine Linn, and I am the Assistant Director for Academic Affairs at the Global Studies Center, and I'm fortunate to be the student advisor. I want to welcome you all today to the Global Studies 2021 Honors Day, celebrating both our graduate and undergraduate students who are receiving certificates in either the Global Studies or global health areas. I am delighted that you're able to join us for this happy celebration. We're going to begin the program with a talk by Dr. Ariel Armony. He is the Vice Provost for Global Affairs. He's the Director for the University Center for International Studies, and he's a Professor of Public and International Affairs and Political Science. Dr. Armony?
Thank you, Elaine. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to provide some brief remarks on your graduation today. As you know, is the case with many of us. I wish we were able to do this in person. I wish I had the chance to meet you and your friends and your families and celebrate your incredible achievements. And we know that the last year has exposed many vulnerabilities, but it has also shown us some of the greatest examples of innovation, resiliency, and generosity in our lifetimes. As much as the pandemic changed your final year at the university, it has also demonstrated to me the value of what we do at the University Center for International Studies and what you're taking away with you as you transition to new opportunities. You have gotten the knowledge and competencies to understand what has been happening and to make sense of how we will continue to make our way into the future. I want to thank Dr. Michael Goodhart and his extraordinary team, and I want to thank the faculty, and I want to thank all of you, all the students who enrich our programs at the university and at UCIS. You have shown resilience, commitment, and incredible flexibility, and often a great disposition and a wonderful sense of humor. We are proud of our Global Studies Center and proud of your accomplishments. Thank you for joining us today. Congratulations on your graduation and on the exciting new steps in your lives. We hope you'll stay in touch and visit us when conditions allow. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next in line is our Director of the Global Studies Center and Professor of Political Science, Dr. Michael Goodhart.
Thanks, Lane, and welcome everyone to this 2021 virtual graduation. While each year is, of course, unlike any other, it still seems like this past year can be described as something all its own. The pandemic has set the backdrop for a drama of political upheaval, economic disruption, and social fragmentation and alienation that's still playing out. We've witnessed and experienced tragedy and courage, joy and heartbreak on an almost daily basis. Many observers have pointed out that the pandemic held up a mirror to our society. Perhaps the one uncontroversial thing that we can say about that is that few people liked what they saw in that reflection. I had the opportunity this past year, an opportunity created by the unusual circumstances of the year, to teach Intro to Global Studies. And the pandemic provided a unique moment in which to try to communicate to students the value of the approach that we promote at the Global Studies Center. That approach, in a word, is about connections. Thinking globally or transnationally, as we like to say, means thinking about the connections that globalization creates, as well as about the related disruptions, divisions, and inequalities that it produces, and about the productive possibilities, the opportunities that it creates. In my classes this year, we ranged across the past 600 years and around the world, studied ecosystems and energy, work and care, food, money, and lives. We thought a lot about the ways in which these things are connected, about how consequences in one era or continent or domain of human existence ripple across time and space and influence all aspects of life. I find it fascinating, and I hope my students did too, but it can be somewhat depressing sometimes or discouraging. And actually, if I'm honest, Global Studies has a bit of a reputation as the depressing center around the University Center for International Studies. Maybe that's well-deserved. While our colleagues in the regional centers have opportunities to celebrate culture and heritage, our thematic orientation tends towards global challenges. We once joked that when some colleagues proposed an event on food around the world, our contribution could be to talk about deforestation and labor trafficking in the agricultural sector. It can seem like gloom and doom, and I know this from talking with my students who expressed frustration and sometimes almost a bit of despair about the tremendous complexity they were beginning to appreciate. I'm sympathetic to that, and I know it can be daunting to remain optimistic in the face of the sheer density, intensity, and extensity of the connections that are the fabric of our world. So this afternoon, on this occasion, I thought it would be appropriate to comment briefly on how a depressing studies certificate can impart valuable life and career skills. If the past year's taught us anything, it's that making plans is a luxury. What does one do with the knowledge that the only certainty is uncertainty? Thinking connectively about the world, embracing its complexity, teaches us that unpredictability is predictable. We couldn't know that in late 2019, a novel coronavirus would jump from a bat to a human, perhaps through a third species, causing the pandemic we're still enduring. But we could know that climate change and industrialized agricultural practices, both driven by cheap carbon-based energy, is creating conditions globally in which zoonotic disease transmission is more probable and likely to be more severe. We couldn't know that on May 25th, 2020, Minneapolis police officers arresting George Floyd for allegedly passing a counterfeit 20 would kill him, or that his death would touch off months of protest and counter-protest across the country and around the world. But we could know the global history and the ongoing legacies that fueled those protests and the divisions they exposed. We couldn't know that on August 27th, 2020, Hurricane Laura would make landfall near Cameron, Louisiana, killing at least 27 people. But we could know that the planet's climate is changing in ways that increase the frequency and intensity of tropical storms and the disruptions that they cause. We couldn't know that on March 23rd, a giant container ship would get wedged in the Suez Canal. But we could know that the global supply chains that propel contemporary just-in-time production are fragile and highly sensitive to even minor disruptions, which can have significant economic implications. I won't go on. The point is, we could and did know about the general conditions that gave rise to these and many other significant but unpredictable global events in the recent past. By studying connection, disruption, division, and inequality on a global scale and through time, we can understand the dynamics of a complex world system. While we might not be able to predict specific outcomes or make firm plans for the future, we can learn to plan for likely contingencies. This ability to anticipate and respond creatively and effectively to contingencies is going to be essential for people working in fields as diverse as healthcare, education, policy, poetry, and the sciences. We need thinkers who can make sense of the big picture in ways that enable us to prepare for the unanticipated in robust and responsible ways. My hope is that you can apply what you've learned about global thinking in your future work in ways that help all of us to flourish. Global thinking can help us to anticipate the likely impacts of these predictable uncertainties. Scholars who study gender violence, for instance, knew that increased unemployment and social distancing would lead to increased domestic abuse, as has been the case, unfortunately. But knowledge like that, coupled with certainty about the uncertainty of the future, can inform strategies for adaptation, can help us to identify opportunities to protect and promote our cherished values and priorities in the midst of setbacks and difficulties. My point is simply this. I know that global studies can be depressing, but it can also be empowering. If we prepare for the unpredictable, we can reclaim agency and actively shape the future. I can't think of a more hopeful possibility. I want to end by congratulating all of you again on your accomplishments in a very trying year. And I wish you great success and happiness, however you understand them, in your future endeavors. Remember that graduating doesn't mean cutting your ties with global studies. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing you soon and often. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Now you all know why I love coming to work every day. Another reason, in addition to being around the wisdom of Dr. Michael Goodhart, is that I have the pleasure of working with the next speaker, Ms. Veronica Dristas, who is the Associate Director for the Global Studies Center. Veronica?
Hello, everyone, and thank you for giving me time. I have to say that you are very fortunate to have one of the best academic advisors with Elaine Linn. You couldn't be more fortunate. One of the things she talks about every time is all the wonderful accomplishments that you have done. And I unfortunately don't get to see many of the students as she does. So I live through all the stories that she tells me. I do, however, am fortunate that I have been able to work with some great students over the last 2 years. And that is who I want to acknowledge are the people who have made our office the dynamic office that it is to do the great programming that we have done over the course of the last year and a half in a strange but remote and interesting way. So I would like to thank, first of all, our Heinz Fellow, Yunan An, who's graduating from Gispia and has participated in many activities of the center. Also, I would like to thank all of our interns. You have no idea how much we rely on all of you every single day. Without your help, we could not do what we do. And it is strange, but you know, we see you every day. They've been here every day and they've become a part of our family. And even despite our distance, we still appreciate it. And I'm going to miss every single one of you. I saw just pop on our screen that last year's our our student ambassador, Destiny, is here, and I'd like to acknowledge her. And now I'd like to acknowledge our 4 graduating graduate students. That's Ryan Peters, Josephine Syring, Yunjo Oh, and Monica Morante. Without you guys, I cannot thank you enough of all the wonderful things you've done for us. And to a special congratulations also to Yunjo, who just had a baby last week and still attended our meeting 12 hours after giving birth to come and see how dedicated our students are. So once again, thank you to all of you.
Thank you, Veronica. I have to also salute our students and know that we're going to miss you a great deal, but you know we're here for you. Now it's my turn to wish you and congratulate you on your accomplishments. You are the shining stars of our time, giving us hope for a bright future. The class of 2021 will be known as the class of resilience. Take this experience and display it with pride as you've demonstrated the ability to keep your eye on the prize, to be diligent to your end game, and that is graduating from the University of Pittsburgh. The video you are about to see conveys our students' ability through high points and disappointing times to complete their coursework, study languages, conduct research, complete internships, take on part-time jobs, provide services to the community, study abroad, apply for jobs, apply for PhD programs, and many for our undergraduates taking LSATs, MCATs, GMATs, and applying for graduate school. So I'm very honored to introduce you to our Global Studies class of 2021 by displaying a video. So I'm going to now share my screen. Quite the accomplishments, right? Very, very proud of all of you. It's just amazing the work that you've done and how prepared you are to go out into the world. You are now alums of Global Studies, and I can't tell you how important it is to stay in touch with us via LinkedIn. Got to get that LinkedIn site up, everybody. And now through Pitt Commons. You belong to a group of over 1,000 alumni within Global Studies, living across the globe, working in a vast array of fields, and who are involved in important community work as private citizens. Please feel free to reach out to these alums now and as you progress into the future. We also want you to stay in touch with us. And when we call on you for career talks or meet and greets, or in the future for fundraising campaigns, we want you to contribute in whatever way you can so we can continue to add important programming and academic experiences to our students. For some, I've only met you virtually this past year, but others, I remember our conversations many afternoons in Posvar Hall. You are all very dear to me, and know that I'm here to support you, as is the Global Studies Center. So congratulations, class of 2021, and hail to Pitt. Take care, everybody. Congratulations. Thank you. That ends our program for today, and we wish you all well.